Welcome. Here you're watching the opening ceremony of the 19th Viz East Moot competition.
Hello. I've had the pleasure of being involved with the Viz Moot and the Viz Moot East for 22 years, and I strongly believe that Hong Kong is the best place to support and house the Viz East. Hong Kong is, after all, at the very epicenter of Asia and has always put on an excellent program for students and practitioners alike. With the very strong support of the Hong Kong legal profession and the government, Hong Kong can continue to provide an Asian home for this very important and at times life-changing event. I really look forward to meeting all of you in person in Hong Kong next year.
The best thing about Viz East Hong Kong has been the socializing, and my favorite event, the MAAGIA conference, where law firms such as mine threw open our doors to over 100 students, mixing with some of the best international arbitration practitioners in the world in quizzes, seminars, debates, and even light-hearted events such as How to Talk Mount Tai. Those times will come back. We will meet again in Hong Kong, in person. Cheers, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ingeborg Schwenzer. For me, the Viz East is the best opportunity to meet and mingle with students and professionals from around the world, from all 5 continents, to discuss and to work with and to have lots of fun. Hope to see you soon, again in person at the Viz East.
For almost 20 years, the highlight of each professional year for me has been the Viz East Moot. I've met scores and scores of wonderful arbitrators and aspiring arbitrators. The event is extremely well organized, and the dinners and other social events during the week are both great fun and professionally useful. I've made a great many close friends at the Viz, and I very much look forward to getting back in person.
Why Moot in Hong Kong? It's a dynamic and international city, bridges East and West. What's for the students? Unique learning and cultural experience, a lifelong treasure.
Hong Kong has been a wonderful Viz East Moot home for 19 years. While everyone misses aspects of an in-person Moot, particularly the networking, socializing, and bonding, the virtual Moot has expanded opportunities for broader participation.
Hong Kong has always been a hub that attracts people from all over the world, and Viz East is a good illustration of that. I have been going to Hong Kong for Viz East since 2011, and over the years I have made there some of the most important academic, professional, business, and even personal connections in my life.
It is a pleasure to share with you what you will find in Hong Kong when you come to Moot in person in the Viz East competition. You will find an international city where East meets West, where we have the common law but great experience of civil law.
I have fond memories of my visits to Hong Kong over the years, dating back to 1990. I miss the energy and excitement of Hong Kong and seeing friends and colleagues in person. I wish I could be there now. Hong Kong has been a nurturing home to the Viz Moot East for the past 19 years, and there is truly where the Viz Moot East belongs.
Each spring for the past decade, I've looked forward to the Viz East competition in Hong Kong. I've so enjoyed the enthusiasm and energy of the student competitors, and I've always admired how amazingly well prepared they are. I've often thought as I've walked around the competition, what a great experience it must be for these students to be together competing in one of the world's most exciting cities, a city that I can't wait to get back to. I'm excited to be participating virtually this year, but but I really look forward to getting back to Hong Kong and seeing everyone in person next year. I wish everyone the best of luck.
Viz East is in Hong Kong's DNA. From the very first year, it's been a standout fixture in Hong Kong's arbitration calendar, and we can't wait till it's back live and in person. What I love is that it draws in Hong Kong's whole arbitration community, from first-year students to the most senior lawyers and arbitrators. The hearings are also a brilliant opportunity to meet arbitration practitioners and students from all over the world, with Hong Kong as an always welcoming and inspirational host.
May we now invite Miss Louise Barrington, founder and director of the Viz East Moot Foundation, to give the welcome remarks. Miss Barrington, please.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are joining us here at the Willem C. Vis International Commercial Arbitration Moot, the Viz East here in Hong Kong. I'm Louise Barrington, the director, and I welcome you to this 19th edition of the Viz East. So it's been 6 months in the making. Since the time you registered back in September and you got the problem, you've been working hard, and we know that you've spent a lot of time away from your friends, from your family, from your hobbies, and you've dedicated so many hours and so many weeks and months to preparing for this week. So all the work that you've been doing is going to pay off this week. You're going to argue this week before distinguished arbitration professionals, academics, and counsel and arbitrators. And they're going to be judging you, yes, but they're also going to be giving you some feedback and some tips about how you can perfect your presentations. These very busy professionals are generously giving their time because they know how important it is to you, the students, but also to the legal community, because you are the future of the legal community. And these professionals realize that by training you, they are contributing to the entire legal community. They also know that people who have done the moot, students who have worked like this assiduously and together for 6 months, are wonderful prime candidates for jobs in law firms that do arbitration. You're the kind of people that can get hired and hit the ground running. Next Sunday, 7 days from now, one team from among you will, I won't say walk away, but will accept the highest honor of the Viz East Moot, the Eric Bergson Award for the team prevailing in the oral arguments. Other teams will receive awards: the David Hunter Award for the Best Memorandum for Claimant, the Fally Nariman Award for the Best Memorandum for the Respondent, and a star speaker will receive the Neil Kaplan Award for the Best Oralist. The fact that you're here, at least virtually with us, means that you're already all winners. You've been chosen to represent your schools and in a global competition, and that's already quite an honor. There's no trophy or rich scholarship at the end of the Viz East Moot, but you're going to leave with something much more precious: knowledge, practical skills, confidence, and an experience you'll remember for the rest of your lives. Despite the COVID restrictions that are keeping us from gathering in person in Hong Kong, we hope that you'll spend your time well outside the argument room this week by taking part in the seminars and the social events and gatherings that are lined up by our generous sponsors for the entire week. The ICC Cafe is back, as always, in its third virtual year, and it provides a meeting place in a virtual room for students and arbitrators alike to rest up a little and to meet and get to know each other and make all kinds of contacts. It's also where we're going to go this year to find emergency arbitrators if we have a member who can't make it an arbitrator who can't make it at the last minute. So just a little history about the Viz Moot. The Viz in Vienna, the Viz Moot in Vienna began 29 years ago, and it was, of course, set up because the the UNCITRAL Convention on the International Sale of Goods had recently been adopted and was little known at the time. And there were 3 professors at Pace University in New York, and they thought, well, why don't we have a competition, a law students competition, so that they'll have to learn about the convention in order to win the competition. So these 3 professors, Professors Kritzer and Schur and Bergston, got together and put this Moot together. And because the Willem Vis, the Secretary General of UNCITRAL at the time that the convention was being negotiated, had been at Pace University with them and had just recently passed away, they decided to name it in his honor. And I can't think of a more perfect person to have it remember. So Professor Bergson, one of those 3 originals, he directed the VIS in Vienna for over 20 years. And then finally, he stepped back for a long deserved rest, but he's still active as the chairman of the VIS in Vienna. And he has 3 people who take the direction of the VIS in Vienna. And those names are probably very familiar to you, Christopher Key and Patricia Nettel and Stefan Kroll. And they are the people who direct the VIS in Vienna. That first VIS back then was 9 teams. They started with 9 teams. And they did it in Vienna because, of course, Vienna was the home of UNCITRAL, at least, and very convenient to Europeans at least. This year's VIS, I understand, is almost 400 teams in its 29th year. And those of you who've been to Vienna know what a wonderful experience it is. It's a tremendous experience for students and also for the arbitrators. Now, in 1993, in order to bring the VIS experience to Asia, where there was only a small handful of law schools who participated in the VIS in Vienna, law schools then in Asia didn't moot. They didn't have that culture. That it was not part of the way they learned their law. So in 1993, the VIS East was born to bring that culture to Asia. With the financial and moral support of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators East Asia branch, the VIS East was born. We had 14 teams when we started. Several people watching this now, I know, were present here in Hong Kong at the International Arbitration Center for that very first welcome, March 2004. It took us over 10 years to get up to half of our competing teams from Asia. That happened about 10 years ago, 9 or 10 years ago. We always keep 50% of the spaces at the VIS East Moot for Asian teams. This year, we have 140 teams, and there are 74 Asian teams. That's counting South Asia as well as East Asia. We have about 1,400 people involved in our work, including dozens and dozens that you don't see, but who help because they are back in their offices reading and critiquing the memorandum for the claimant and the memorandum for the respondent. Now, none of this would have been possible without the support of certain people that I'd like to mention. I always do because they merit it. Glenn Haley, who was the chair of the Chartered Institute at the time that the VIS started, he persuaded the others on the committee to stand behind us as a big project of the Chartered Institute. With him were John Cock, Joe Gilfeather, others, the late great Colin Wall, who helped create the spirit of this, of the Moot Award. Hugh Dundas, another member of the Chartered Institute, galvanized CIR members, told them about the VIS East, told them what a wonderful experience it was, encouraged them to come to Hong Kong to arbitrate, and also kept a running commentary about the VIS East every year while he was here. There are many others I could mention, but don't have time, and they know that we love them. All through the years, the Chartered Institute East Asia branch has been a stalwart, supportive backer of the Moot, and we are very grateful for their assistance throughout the 20 years that we've existed. They too realize that the practical training that the VIS Moot gives is something which is invaluable to arbitrators once they are out working. 10 years ago, the Vis Moot Foundation was born, and that was the beginning also of a different phase to the Moot, which was the capacity building program. I say was, although it's on pause at the moment because of COVID and we can't travel too much, but this is a project where we take this knowledge and skills to countries where they need it most, and we work with them for 3 years running, so that at the end of 3 years, there's a cohort of law students and recent grads who know about the CISG and who know about arbitration and they're enthusiastic about it, and they are there to train the cohorts behind them. We haven't been able to travel for the last few years, but we have managed to put over 100 students through that boot camp of international law, arbitration, and the CISG, and we hope that we'll be able to get back and do another series, hopefully at the end of this year. Now, at this point, among all of the people that are so important to the Moot, I'd like to introduce you to some of those who have been particularly supportive to us this year.
Thank you, Miss Barrington. May we now invite the Honourable Miss Theresa Chen, GBM, GBS, SCJP, Secretary for Justice of the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China. Madam Secretary, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, good morning, and good afternoon. It is my pleasure to be here for the opening of the 19th Willem C. Vis East International Commercial Arbitration Moot. This Vis East Moot has its roots here in Hong Kong since 2004, and we are ever so grateful to the Vis Moot, in particular Professor Dr. Christopher Key, Professor Dr. Stefan Crow, and Magister Patricia Natal for this close collaboration and their support. Due to the pandemic, this is the third time the virtual Vis East Moot is held in Hong Kong. The challenges presented by the COVID-19 pandemic is unprecedented, but we continue to organize the Vis East Moot annually for participants around the world with the aid of LawTech. The Department of Justice has accorded high priority to the development of LawTech in Hong Kong to provide services for the region and beyond, as well as to prepare our legal and dispute resolution practitioners to meet the future needs of the law firms and their clients. The IBRAM International Online Dispute Resolution Center has been providing support for the organization of the Vis East Moot virtually for 3 consecutive years. Last month, IBRAM has made a submission to the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation to become an online dispute resolution service provider under the APAC ODR framework. The ODR platform developed by IBRAM has complied with the requirements under the APAC ODR framework and its procedural rules. In addition, it is equipped with bank-grade security features and artificial intelligence-backed translation in 5 languages: English, Chinese, Spanish, Arabic, and Russian. Apart from developing its own ODR platform, IBRAM is also experienced in organizing various moot and capacity-building activities in this region and beyond since its establishment in 2018. On this note, I am pleased that IBRAM continues to provide technical support for the 3rd virtual moot this year. Besides the development of infrastructure for ODR in Hong Kong, the Department of Justice is also actively supporting international development of ODR. Last year, DOJ held the first part of an ODR workshop with the support of the ASEAN Secretariat to provide capacity building for traders and practitioners, attracting hundreds of participants from ASEAN countries and beyond. The second part of the ODR workshop will be held later this year. Furthermore, DOJ has established the Inclusive Global Legal Innovation Platform, IGLIP in short, composing of experts across the globe to facilitate studies on ODR-related issues and explore international developments on ODR in collaboration with UNCITRAL. Experts from the IGLIP will also be presenting the work on a possible international instrument on ODR and access to justice at the coming UNCITRAL colloquium on possible future work on dispute resolution on the 29th of March. The Department of Justice will continue with our fervent efforts to foster the development of law tech and ODR services with a view to maintaining our position as a center for international legal and dispute resolution services in the Asia-Pacific region. In this connection, we will soon welcome the official opening of the ELCO Hong Kong Regional Arbitration Center, which will also promote the use of ODR as one of its key functions and objectives. This will further enhance Hong Kong as a leading center for dispute resolution. The Moot this year has attracted around 1,400 participants from 140 teams and over 400 arbitrators representing 43 jurisdictions. The CISG conference preceding the opening ceremony has also attracted participants from around the world. The Department of Justice and indeed the whole legal sector in Hong Kong are committed to support the Vis East Moot here, and we also look forward to having an unprecedented number of physical participants in Hong Kong next year. Lastly, I would like to express my appreciation to the Vis East Moot Foundation and all volunteers for their dedication and hard work in organizing the Moot. I wish the Moot another year of great success and all participants a most rewarding and enjoyable time. I look forward to welcoming the participants, the coaches, the arbitrators, Christopher, Staffan, and Patricia, all in person and mask-free next year here in Hong Kong. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. May we now invite Dr. Chien Fu-yong, Deputy Secretary-General of Beijing Arbitration Commission, also known as Beijing International Arbitration Center. Dr. Chien, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear Mooties, greetings from Beijing. I'm Chen Fu-yong, the Deputy Secretary-General of the Beijing Arbitration Commission, also known as Beijing International Arbitration Center. Although this is the first time that BAC has sponsored the Vis East Moot, we do already have a close connection with this competition. BAC hosted the Vis Pre-Moot in Beijing from 2017 to 2019 for mooties intending to attend the competition in Vienna and Hong Kong, and in this way provided them with the opportunity to practice and improve. Also, we have sponsored the Vienna Vis Moot since 2019. As an observer of the UNCITRAL Working Group on Dispute Resolution, from time to time, we have the opportunity to talk with Vis Moot representatives during UNCITRAL conference. Actually, BAC always pays close attention to the cultivation of young legal talent. In China, we hold BAC ASIC competitions aiming to promote more young talent to do research on and obtain practice in arbitration. This annual event has already been held for 9 years. In addition, BAC has set up a scholarship for Central and Western China, providing various support for legal talent in college in these areas. BSc has also been running an international internship program since 2005, and so far has provided internship opportunities for around 100 law school students from outside mainland China. Speaking of our connection with the Moot, I'm pleased to say that BSc also benefit greatly from this competition. Many of our colleagues were Mooties in their academic days, and it was the Moot that gave them a deeper understanding of arbitration and helped them choose arbitration as their career. Many of our arbitrators have also supported or attended the Moot and are now excelling in their respective professional area. Apart from that, please allow me to present a brief introduction to BSc's recent developments. BSc was established in 1995 and became the first self-funded arbitration institutions in mainland China in 1998. Over the last 10 years, BSc's annual caseload has continuously increased and reached a record high number of 7,737 last year. If you just look at the international caseload, the numbers are also quite encouraging. BSc had 215 international cases in 2020, and the number of 2021 is 249. The international cases involving disputing parties from over 50 countries and regions. To better meet the needs of arbitration users, BSc has kept its arbitration rules up to date. Under the current BSc rules, foreign counsel may represent parties in both domestic cases and international cases. And parties in international cases may select arbitrator from outside the BSc panel. Since 2013, BSc has produced an annual report on commercial dispute resolution in China and had held roadshows overseas with an aim to facilitate the mutual understanding between Chinese professionals and their international counterpart. This year, we plan to publish our annual report virtually. You are welcome to follow too and participate in this event. Back to the competition. This year's Moot problems covers a number of procedural and substantive issues, which are representative of international commercial arbitration and therefore are well worth researching. We believe that in the performance of youth, the Mooties, we will clearly see the next generation legal elite. Finally, on behalf of the BSc, I hereby deliver my sincere good wishes to you and hope you all do well in the competition. I also wish this Moot a complete success. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chen. May we now invite Mr. David Fong, Chairperson of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, East Asia Branch. Mr. Fong, please.
It is my great privilege in welcoming all of you in joining the Moot. My name is David Fong. I am the chairman of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators East Asia Branch. Since the inception of the Moot in 2002, the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators East Asia Branch has been a keen supporter of the Moot. As described by the learned authors of International Commercial Arbitration and Asia Pacific Perspective, the Moot is a sign of the Asia Pacific's prominence in the international commercial arbitration. The Moot is the fertile ground for nurturing the next generation of arbitral practitioners. I can think of many Moots in the earlier days becomes arbitral practitioners and indeed partners of international law firms. A little bit of history. The background of the Chartered Institute. The Institute of Arbitrators was founded in 1915 to discuss the interest in arbitration, how the committee in dispute could be held by arbitration, and how the general principles of arbitration could be publicized and improved. In 1925, the Institute became an incorporated body with a license to disband the word limited. Finally, on the 6th of February 1979, Her Majesty's Most Honourable Privy Council granted a Royal Charter of Incorporation to the Institute of Arbitrators. The Institute has since then known as the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators. It has now over 30,000 members globally, supported by a network of 41 branches. The East Asia branch, formerly known as the Hong Kong branch, was founded in 1972. We shall celebrate its 50th anniversary later this year. The East Asia branch is the largest branch of the Chartered Institute, with close to 2,700 members, with around 1,800 resides in Hong Kong. The branch covers the region composing the law from Mongolia, mainland China, South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Macau, Myanmar, Vietnam, down to the south, the Philippines and Indonesia. Chapter has been established in Indonesia, the Philippines, Vietnam, Taiwan, Japan, and South Korea. The East Asia branch has a dynamic young members group with over 1,000 young members. Young members refer to those members who are 40 years old or below. The East Asia branch has collaborated with other organizations in the region to promote, among other things, Hong Kong as an international dispute resolution center. The branch also promotes diversity and inclusion through specific events. Being a mooter is both a challenging and rewarding experience. If I can turn the clock back, I would have no hesitation in joining the VC Moot, not as an arbitrator, but as a mooter. Due to the COVID pandemic, the 19th VC Moot need to conduct virtually again. While you cannot be physically in Hong Kong, I have no doubt through the VC Moot, you will enjoy the experience of being an integral part of Hong Kong's dispute resolution hub. So do enjoy the Moot, and I wish you best of luck in the competition. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fong. May we now invite Professor Christopher Key, Director of the William C. V's Vienna Moot. Professor Key, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Professor Christopher Key, and along with my co-directors, Magister Patrizia Natal and Professor Dr. Stefan Kroll, I would like to welcome you to the opening ceremony of the 19th Viz East Moot. As I speak to you, we're all located all over the world. I'm here in Adelaide, Australia, where the traditional owners of the land are the Kaurna people, and I'd like to pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. A little history about the Viz Moot. The Viz was proposed back in the early 1990s by a New York lawyer named Michael Scher. Michael had been attending an UNCITRAL conference in New York when the question of how to promote UNCITRAL instruments came up. Michael suggested a moot. Following on from Michael's suggestion, Professor Eric Bergston, a former secretary of UNCITRAL, saw an opportunity to create that moot. Eric established what we do today. He conceived it. He solved all the problems as the moot grew. He persuaded people within his sphere of influence to engage with the moot, to support the moot, to promote the moot. And what he ended up doing was creating a life-changing experience for every one of the probably 45,000 law students who have now participated in either a Viz Moot or a Viz East competition. That's a life-changing experience. And as a former mootie myself, I can really reflect on the importance of my experience and how it impacted everything that has followed for me. The Moot is a competition because it needs to be, not because it wants to be. For us as directors, it's the experience that you gain that is really most important, not how you progress in the competition. And we understand that's important too, and it's a very important motivation, and we wish you well over the coming week in particular. But as time passes, you'll realise that what you gain most is the experience of what you've undertaken. Even though we are not physically able to get together for these events or for the hearings, much of what you have been doing is a shared experience. How many of you have dreamed about the Moot problem? How many of you have cracked jokes that are Moot specific? Family and friends have no idea what you're talking about. They certainly won't laugh, or they might laugh at you rather than with you. Everyone else viewing this today and participating in this competition gets those jokes. You are now part of a very, very large community. On behalf of my co-directors, I'd like to thank Louise Barrington, Shirlene Tung, and the other members of the Viz East administration for putting on this wonderful event. My last piece of advice to everyone, have fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Key. Now we have with us Miss Shirlene Tung, President of the William C. Viz Moot Alumni Association and Deputy Director of the Viz East Moot Foundation. Miss Tung, please.
And hello, and good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in this world. As you've seen, my name is Shirlene Tung. I'm here in my capacity right now as President of the Moot Alumni Association, an organization that everyone who is watching, who has taken part in the Viz Moots, or who will take part in the Viz Moots, should be a part of. So the Moot Alumni Association is the alumni association of the Viz Moots. It's an organization comprised of over 5,000 official members. We have academics, students, and professionals, all of whom who have the common interests not only of the Viz Moots, but also who have the common interests of international arbitration and international trade law. Now, generally speaking, when the Viz Moot competitions are in person, the MAA is the organization that organizes all of the in-person social activities for both Mooties, students, as well as the arbitrators. In Hong Kong and Vienna, traditionally, we've always organized the Moot bars, which happen on a nightly basis. We also started organizing a Moot cafe. Now, for the last few years, ever since the Viz Moots have gone virtual, the MAA has also gone virtual in the activities that it offers its members. The MAA organizes a series of webinars that hopefully you guys have already taken part of. We also organize the Generations in Arbitration Conference, the CISG conference, and I am actually proud to say, since I started with the MAA, we have more than tripled in our capacity of projects that are organized for the MAA, but we've also expanded to a core team of approximately 50 members. Now, the core team members are basically active MAA members who have dedicated all of their time on a nonprofit, pro bono basis to organize all of the events that we hope that you as the MAA members enjoy. Now, we encourage you to sign up officially for the Moot Alumni Association if you haven't already. We offer both a premium membership, which is only €20 a year. With that premium membership comes with free electronic access to the Vindabona Journal, along with priority on all of our projects, which include the Mentor-Mentee program. You get to represent the MAA at the UNCITRAL working sessions. We have a China project, which puts on a series of lectures and seminars for young professionals and students in China, all on international arbitration and trade law. We also have the regional representatives, which have members from all over the world, and we continuously put on regular legal seminars and webinars for our MAA members as well as those who are interested. So we hope that you join us. We take this opportunity to wish all the Mooties as well as the arbitrators all the best of luck and fun this week. For more details on the MAA, please visit us at www.maa.net. Join us on all of our social media accounts. And if you have any questions, you know where to reach us. Good luck to all the students.
Thank you, Ms. Tong. As the opening ceremony concludes, it is our great pleasure to have Miss Louise Barrington with us again. Miss Barrington, please.
So I'm back again for some housekeeping this time. There are a few things that you need to remember during this week, and so this is the time to remind you of them. The first one is scouting, the rule against. I think everybody is aware of it, but just in case you've forgotten or you weren't aware of it, you are not allowed to see a team, witness a team that you're going to be meeting in the general rounds this week. And so I think most people now know that they're not allowed to do that, but sometimes it happens that you see a team by mistake. And it happens a little bit less now that we're doing it virtually, but it is still possible because it is permitted for people to watch teams that they are not a part of. So please, if you want to watch a team because you've got a friend on that team or because you went to school there sometime or whatever, for whatever reason, if you want to watch a team, be really, really careful that it is one that you're not going to be arguing against in the general rounds because it is an automatic disqualification. Now, the team packages, of course, are virtual this year, and basically, instead of the little red booklet that we used to give out and the coupons and the maps and things like that, none of that's necessary when you're not here. We hope that it will be necessary next year, but for now, you go to your team page, and there you will find everything that you need. You will find the calendar of Moot events, you'll find the program, you'll find your schedule of arguments, very important. This year, the participation certificates will be delivered electronically, along with any awards your team may collect at the end of the week. So please make sure that if you have had any changes or if you notice a mistake in your spelling, please let us know before that we print those out or before we send them out to you. For arbitrators, you have an arbitrator profile now, and that is your point of contact with the Vis East Moot. The schedule of arguments, the instructions for scoring, invitations, flyers, and of course your assignments will all be found on your profile page, and also the link to those assignments. Those of you who have participated in the Vis East before virtually will remember the promise that the arbitral tribunal administers to each team before the beginning of the argument. And that promise is that they are alone in the room, that they are not being helped or assisted by anybody else that isn't on camera, and that they will have contact only with the arbitrators and their own partners. The argument schedules for teams and arbitrators, as I said, these the arguments are set for the general rounds. Obviously, we don't know about Friday and Saturday and Sunday, but for the next 4 days, we pretty well know where you're going to be and when you're going to be there. The only time that may change is if we have a crisis or an incident where a team is not able to participate as planned. We hope that that won't happen this year, but it's always a possibility. Each of the arguments has its own unique link. So if you have 4 arguments, that's 4 different links. Don't try to use Monday's link on Tuesday, please. It will not work. It'll just say this argument is over, which would be bad news for you. Please arrive 15 minutes before your hearing is scheduled to start. We really do need you to do that, not only because it lets you settle in and get comfortable, but also because that way we can make sure that your microphone's working, that the lighting is good enough that we can see you, and just generally make sure that everything is in order before we start. Arbitrators who wish to have more hearings than they have been assigned, if you hang around the ICC Cafe before the sessions are scheduled to start, it's quite possible you'll pick up an argument if someone has to drop out at the last minute. So I would like at this point to say thank you very much to our patrons and our sponsors. Our patrons are very special sponsors because they have they've committed to 3 years at a minimum amount that they're going to sponsor us for. And that lets us keep on an even keel financially, because they provide a foundation for all of the other sponsoring we get. So a big special thanks to our patrons. I'm going to just very quickly go through the names because they are so important to us. Alex and Partners, Allen and Overy, Alvarez and Marcel, Ankara, BVI International Arbitration Center, CAM, CCBC, Charles Allen, Concilio, David McDonald, Hogan Lovells, Junhei LLP, Neil Kaplan, Paradox, the Rangoon Walla Foundation, Sherlyn Tung, Skadden, Temple Chambers, and Withers Worldwide. Now, also working very hard to make this week memorable and make it run smoothly is the Vis East team. We are a very small team, and we have a lot of different functions that are happening behind the scenes to make this a good week for you. Maricel Somerville, who has provided invaluable support for sponsorship, social media, and IT for 12 years now. Those of you who are sponsors know her well. Lynn Thornton, who was brave enough to join us last year in the role of general manager. Our wonderful foundation members and directors and advisors who have ensured that the Hong Kong legal community supports and nurtures the Vis East every year. Honorary Secretary Graham Cottingham, who advises on compliance and other invisible but important corporate issues, has joined us pro bono now as our honorary secretary. And KPMG has joined us as our honorary auditor for the first time this year. And finally, Alex and Partners, the official scorer of the Vis East Moot. And last but not least, I left her. She thinks I've left her out, but it's not true. She doesn't need any introduction because you just heard from her, former Mootie coach, arbitrator, Moot Alumni Association president, and current president, and currently now for the past year, deputy director of the Vis East Moot. And that's Sherlyn Tung, who actually does practice law, I think, once in a while, but I've never known how she could manage. It's no exaggeration to say that we couldn't be here tonight without her. I've been stuck outside Hong Kong for many months, and this is really no exaggeration. Finally, you are going to be working very hard this week. We know that you will be trying very hard to do your personal best and perhaps depart next Sunday with one of the awards. Some of you will go on to help other members of the Vis team from your school compete in Vienna in a couple of weeks. But aside from the awards and the experience and the professional contacts, there's also another important aspect. And despite the COVID virus, our sponsors have invested a lot of time and energy into the social events and seminars, which are so important to round out the Vis Moot experience. So yes, do practice hard, do very best, and make sure you pay attention to this other face of the Vis Moot. The contacts you make here, the friendships you'll develop, the efforts you put in outside the argument room may surprise you with what they bring back. Your connections will last for years. People I judged 20 years ago at the Vis and the Vis East are professors and law partners and judges and coaches and executives around the world. Over nearly 2 years, Vienna and Hong Kong, we've seen intercontinental friendships, long-distance mentors and mentees who stay in touch, and even a couple of weddings and a few Mootie babies. So work hard, do your best, be the best advocate that you can as a competitor, but also think about having fun. We hope that you'll go away from the Moot this week with a treasure trove of new friendships and memories. And for now, good luck to everybody.
Once again, thank you very much for joining us at the opening ceremony of the 19th Viz East Moot competition. Goodbye.